shalommusic.com.
You are listening to Get Down to Business. You could get on my website, shalomklein.com. That's where you can download podcasts from past episodes of this show, where we talk all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And joined once again in studio by Tom Figiel of Tandem HR. Tom, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Shalom. Glad to be here.
So team building is something that all companies, all leaders, all managers can and should be focused on. But I've got a few questions for you, Tom. Why spend time building a team? Won't it sort of just happen organically on its own without any efforts and energies?
Well, as you said, a lot of companies and a lot of leaders look at it that way and believe, they'll just naturally come together and get things done. But in my experience, that is not true. It requires a deliberate effort to get a team to work together effectively. And just because you call them a team, it doesn't mean that they're going to act and behave like a team.
Oh, it's interesting. I see a lot of people's business cards, and I think people assume sometimes that because they have a title of something, that means that they're actually doing it, and that means that they could check that off the list, that they are a good manager, that they are a good team leader. That's not always the case, as you're describing. So, Tom, team building, I have to say, a lot of people don't have the best impressions of. Doesn't team building involve a lot of offsite retreats and trust games that no one seems to like, such as falling over backwards and trusting your coworker will catch you and you won't fall? At least I hope you won't fall.
Right.
Is that team building, or are there other ways to go about it?
In my experience, I think there are more effective ways to make your team effective. And those, we've all heard about those offsite retreats where you're stranded on an island and you have to figure out how to get off the island, or the falling back into someone's arms. But the problem I see with those types of exercises is that it's hard and it's difficult for them to apply back in the workplace. So when you fall into someone's arms and they catch you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to catch you at work or help you when you make a mistake.
So, Tom, those investments in the offsite retreats and all those trust games might not be the most effective investment of a company's hard-earned money?
Yes. If it doesn't apply immediately to the work that needs to get done back at the office, then, that could be money
not well spent.
Yes.
So what do effective teams do, and what don't they do?
Yes. So rather than the falling back and catch me exercise.
Tom, I would catch you, by the way. I really would.
All right, and vice versa. One of the best things to do is to create a code of conduct or principles and allow the team to create their own conduct of principles that they all agree to follow, such as, we will not talk about someone behind their back. If we have an issue with someone, we'll go to that person first and we'll make them aware of it. We will not criticize someone when they make a mistake. So these ground rules apply every day to situations in every workplace, and inclusive in those ground rules are the responses, or the way to handle if someone is not following through with the principles, and making people accountable so that the rest of the team can call somebody out if they're not following those principles.
So it sounds like perhaps the off-site retreats might not be the best use of time, but you also mentioned that things like this don't happen on their own. So there needs to be a conscious effort by everybody. It probably can't just be a team leader, but probably the team itself has to buy into the process as well.
Absolutely. And what I have found what makes for the most effective teams is to have the team themselves create their own guiding principles and their own rules, because they're the ones they're going to have to follow them.
That's great. And is there typically a facilitator in this process?
Yes, there usually is a facilitator to make sure that it's an even playing field and everyone gets a chance to share their ideas.
So how does team building pay off for a company, for a business?
It has a lot of benefits. Number one, decisions are made quicker because people are collaborating more. It improves the customer satisfaction, more flexible operations. You provide unique learning opportunities for employees, and it really fulfills a basic psychological need that we all have of feeling belong in a group.
Interesting. Team building sounds like a very important exercise and investment, although, as I keep saying, you should make the investment, like every investment you make, in the right way. So, Tom, what pointers do you have for anyone who wants to improve their team's productivity? What can people implement starting tomorrow at the office?
Yes. One thing I would recommend is start by creating the right atmosphere and design an informal, relaxed, and open work environment that allows people to make mistakes. Secondly, promote mutual respect, promote cooperation, emphasize collaboration and not competition, and develop trust. We've talked about this before, but do what you say and say what you're going to do. Take responsibility when things go wrong. Always be a good listener and allow people to be involved in their own goal settings.
That's important. I think it's always important to remember that a leader can't lead unless people are following. That means everybody needs to buy into the team building process. They need to want it. Otherwise, it's never going to work well. So that trust that you mentioned, building trust is so important. And that's something that I think somebody can help facilitate, that somebody can help set the framework for it. But bottom line, everybody needs to be involved in the process throughout.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So we're talking with Tom Figiel of Tandem HR. Tom, great advice on team building. Hopefully something that all of our listeners will be able to put into practice tomorrow. How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more? Sure.
tfigiel@tandemhr.com is my email address.
Fantastic. tfigiel@tandemhr.com. Check out the website, tandemhr.com. That's where you can find out a lot more information, advice about team building, a lot of other great topics that you will find very useful in the workplace. You won't want to miss it. After the break, we're going to continue the conversation about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Get Down to Business.